Good morning and welcome to the Grow Omaha Show, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Siding and Dingman's Collision Center. My tenacious co-host, Jeff Beals, who usually sits in this seat, is taking the weekend off. But this is a show I've been looking forward to, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to have my longtime friend and mentor, Jerry Slusky, as my co-host today. Jerry has been a longtime Omaha attorney, educator, real estate developer, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and I'm excited to have you here, Jerry.
It's great to be here with you, Trent. I'm appreciative of the opportunity.
Welcome back. It's going to be a very informative and fun show today. We're going to cover what's new and happening in our great city, as well as take you back about 75 years to 1948 to a place called Playland Park, which we have some older demographic that listen to the show, but we have all kinds of listen to the show. To my childhood in the 1970s and 80s at Gizmos at the Westroads, and then we're going to come back to now. And Jerry, before we get into the economic development news of the week, you had a hand in all that kind of stuff, and you were involved in Playland Park, which is now River's Edge Park, and you've been a very busy guy.
Well, I learned, I grew up in amusement park business, and there were lots of things to learn and watch, and I did that as a young 5 to 10, 15-year-old, and then I ended up running our stock car races. So I got a pretty good education before I got a good education, and I'm appreciative of that. I use it almost every day.
Well, we're going to get into to Jerry's life. It'll be like, this is your life, and we're going to talk all things commercial real estate. We're going to talk the economy, and we're going to talk about the CRE Summit, the 34th annual CRE Summit that Jerry founded. And we'll have Chris Mensinger, his co-chair, call in at about 9:20. But for now, we're going to talk about the economic development news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage Company. Eagle Mortgage has been in business for about 32 years. They're licensed mortgage brokers in Nebraska and Iowa. Free consultations. You can find them right near 114th and Davenport, just south of Dodge. Give Holly a call. Go online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. And what's unique about Eagle Mortgage, very important these days, is getting pre-approved. Not only do you get pre-approved, they'll give you a pre-approval letter to go through every step, make it easy for you, but they work with a number of lenders. So it's not just one bank, it's not just one lender. They find a unique fit for you. So, Jerry, as Jeff calls it, the red meat in economic development news is always about the retail and restaurant updates. And we were driving downtown. We went to Gather last night, and you see the new park downtown, and the food trucks are lined up, and we've seen that grow around the country, and it's I haven't gotten used to them yet. Have you?
No, and it's a phenomena, but in other cities, they actually have food truck parks now. And maybe you've talked about this on the radio with Jeff, but it's a phenomenon. I don't think it's going to go away. They're unique. They're good operators, and they're out to make a good living.
Yeah. I would just have a problem if I was paying big rent in a shopping center and a food truck just shows up in my parking lot and takes up my parking spaces. But anyway, we're seeing food trucks becoming bricks and mortar. So the long-anticipated opening of Moot's Pizza occurred this week at 8725 Shamrock on the north side of Countryside Village. It's the first bricks and mortar location for the popular pizza food truck. I have not tried it, but I look forward to that. The Papillion Taco Guy will hold a ribbon cutting on August 15th for its new restaurant at 110 North Washington Street, downtown Papillion. We also know it as 84th Street. And the restaurant will serve smoked brisket, pork, and chicken tacos. That sounds pretty good.
Sounds great. And I think you're right. The conversion, once they get their feet on the ground and get a good following to go to brick and mortar, I think that's a good thing for the economy. And
unless a food truck stays stationary, and I know that the younger generation especially can follow them on apps and track them and Food Tracker or whatever they use, but I think that consistency, when it comes to restaurants, people want to know where they are. They can get parking, and they can get seating. And you, on top of everything else that Jerry has done, you're a major owner of Godfather's Pizza in Florida.
Oh, man, you are going into history.
So you understand the food business.
I do.
And it's crazy now with shortages in staffing and food costs and all that kind of stuff. Are you glad to be out of it?
Totally. I always admire the good operators who continue to do a good job on a consistent basis.
The La Guanaca Papusas Taco and Mas. My Latina wife is going to have a problem with that one. My pronunciation, not the restaurant, has opened in the former East Coast Eats space on 7622 Dodge Street, just west of Smitty's Garage Burgers. The locally owned restaurant serves a variety of Latin American fare. We've got a lot of Mexican restaurants coming up. Cochiva Coffee has opened on the first floor of the historic Redfield building. It was an old printing company building down at 1901 Howard Street. In addition to coffee, the locally owned business is offering rotating selection of locally produced food and goods. So that's that white building with the dark windows now. They did a nice job on the renovation. Rally House is opening its third metro area store at L Street Marketplace near 122nd and L Street. Interior renovations are underway in the bay between Ulta Beauty and Five Below. Rally House is a Kansas City-based retail chain that sells specialty sports, apparel, gifts, and home decor. Existing stores are in Papillion Shadow Lake Town Center and the Council Bluffs Metro Crossing. I have not indulged. Athleta is opening this Saturday, which is today, at Nebraska Crossing, 5,200 square feet, formerly occupied by Brooks Brothers. Jeff Beals is a big fan of Brooks Brothers. I don't know where he's going to go now. The only other Athleta location in Nebraska is at Village Point. Have you been to the new Hy-Vee at 192nd and 370? It's a adventure.
I have, and you're right. It's a phenomenon, and I think people should try it out. It's got everything.
135. It's the largest out of all their stores. 224 Hy-Vee locations nationwide. 135 feet. It's the largest. They welcomed since between June 13th and July 26th. They welcomed 225,000 visitors, making the number one trafficked Hy-Vee in Nebraska and the number 3 out of 224 stores. So that is their new model. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a Wahlburgers in there. There's a bar where you can eat, and it's got all the kinds of like a tap room, huge liquor store. My favorite part of it is that they have individual restrooms for men and women and families. And it's my favorite place to go to the bathroom if I have to go to the bathroom in a grocery store. Anyway, Dollar Tree plans to open in Bluffs Plaza at 1139 North Broadway in Council Bluffs, according to the Lerner Company. Dollar Tree is joining Super Saver and Anytime Fitness. So Dollar Tree, all those dollar stores just seem to be proliferating, and they're easy to put up. They're about 10,000 square feet, and they have good deals.
Yeah, and it's a perfect match for the economy we're in right now. People are looking to downsize, and dollar and all the dollar stores seem to fit that model very well. Yeah,
and a little bit of negative restaurant news. Sternella Bar and Kitchen will close permanently August 31st, so get those gift cards in and give it a whirl one last time. The restaurant has been in business for 7 years and is located at 3814 Farnham Street in the Blackstone District. It's kind of sad, but I'm sure another restaurant tour will come up just as creative and inventive, and I don't think that space will stay on the market long.
That's prime space right in the heart of Blackstone. Somebody's going to snap it up.
That new parking garage and building that they're putting up, that thing just is massive west of the Blackstone. The Omaha Restaurant Week, a celebration of Omaha's culinary scene, will take place September 15th through 24th for 10 days. Participating restaurants will offer discounted three-course meals for $20, $30, $40, and $50 per person. You can get the details at omaharestaurantweek.com. That's omaharestaurantweek.com. So we love our restaurants. Speaking of restaurants, check out the Grow Omaha Weekly Market Report. It comes out every Thursday. Just go to growomaha.com, click on the Weekly Market Report. We're fortunate to have longtime popular food critic Sarah Baker Hansen, who does an amazing job, and she reviewed coneflower, which is a staple in the Blackstone area, but they open at Millwork Commons, kind of north of Charles Schwab Field. Have you ever been to coneflower?
I have not.
Oh my God, it's it's tantalizing. They take, like, say, real cherry pie or real ingredients. They put it in there and they make it with love, and very popular, long lines. And Millward Commons is a neat place. It's where the Hello Apartments is and the old Mastercraft building. And that area is really picking up with a lot of businesses as well. And it's not just popular during the College World Series. And the food reviews by Sarah Baker Hansen is brought to you by Omaha Cheer Athletics. And Cheer Athletics is run by Tiffany and Craig Wolf, who do an amazing job. Cheer Athletics is one of the largest and most respected all-star cheerleading program, very exclusive. The Omaha location is at 14620 Gold Coast Road near 370 and Highway 44. So check out Cheer Athletics because they do a great thing for boys and girls and high school students, training not just athleticism, but also how to handle themselves and grow up the right way. Well, Jerry, that was your economic development news brought to you by Eagle Mortgage Company. Go to eaglemortgagecompany.com. And it's time to take a short break. You're listening to Trenton Maggot and guest host Jerry Slusky, sponsored by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News 11 KFAB. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Groma Show, the area's only economic development and commercial real estate radio program, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. I'm Trenton Maggot of NAI MP Dodge, and I am joined by my longtime friend and mentor, Jerry Slusky, an Omaha attorney, real estate developer, and entrepreneur. Jeff Beals, my usual co-host, has the weekend off. But what we're going to talk about now, Jerry, is the CRE Summit. And we have on the phone our friend and fellow real estate broker, Chris Mensinger. Hey, Chris.
Good morning.
So what year does this make it? Now, Jerry founded the Commercial Real Estate Workshop, now the CRE Summit, for everything related to commercial real estate, from brokers to attorneys, accountants, lawyers, engineers, title insurance professionals, and the list goes on, construction, developers, everything. How long have you been involved with the CRE Summit?
I have been, I think I first got on committee about 8 years ago. And then Jerry and I started working more closely together 3 or 4 years ago. But Jerry's on his 34th year. Which is amazing.
And so it, Jerry, you founded something and stuck with it. And I was involved for about the first 10 years, starting about year 3 or so. And this thing has grown from a couple hundred people to like 1,000 people. It'll be at August 25th all day at the CHI Health Center. And if you go to attendcresummit.com, you'll know what we're talking about. So Chris, give us kind of an overview of the summit this year.
Sure. Well, the summit is really focused this year on interest rates, and just the fact that it's a little bit different navigating kind of higher interest rates environments these days. So that's what our focus is. Every panel, every breakout will have some focus on that, whether it's the finance breakout or construction breakout, kind of how deals are getting done. We've got some great roundtables. We've got developers at the end of the day that are key to Omaha's success and how they're charting the course during this kind of interesting new time for us.
So, Jerry, real estate has a cycle, and basically commercial real estate, and every year you kind of name, you have a theme. And what would you say that the name, but also what is the theme and what is the overall feeling this year that we'll see on August 25th?
Sure. So each year, what we try to do is have our planning committee put together a subject or a group of subjects that address what is very, very timely in the commercial real estate world. And we've had at least 10 years of smooth sailing with low interest rates, low construction costs, and as a consequence, America, Omaha, Lincoln have built up dramatically. All of a sudden, we hit the inflation. Now everybody knows about the Fed raising interest rates to the point now where they're limiting or stopping many, if not all, of new commercial real estate projects. And it's that subject that we're delving into to try to assist the groups that you just mentioned, Trenton, to work through what we call difficult times. And that's the purpose, and I think our planning group this year has really nailed it. I reread the program again this year, and it's right on target.
So what's cool about it, if you go back and you follow the CRE Summit, we'll say, do we step on the gas or push on the brake? And the projects you see going up now, Chris, you see a plethora of construction, every arterial, every back road, from housing developments to industrial, which is white hot, to retail, multifamily. Those projects really didn't get financed yesterday. They got financed a year or two ago, right?
That's right. And that's why I think that we talk about that a lot because, the general public, they drive around Omaha and they're like, there's cranes everywhere, there's construction everywhere. So when we talk about what's happening at the summit and that we feel like these are challenging times, we get a little pushback sometimes when we're getting interviewed on things like this because they said it looks crazy. It looks like there's a ton of work happening. And that's true. Exactly what you said, Trent. Those are deals that were penciled a long time ago. Loans were secured a long time ago. Things are a little bit different now. Omaha, we're a conservative environment by nature, and I think we'll be fine compared to the rest of the country. But I do think it's a reassessment for all of us in the industry about how we get things done, and a little bit of patience, which not a lot of us are very good at, and there's relationships and some of the people that you'd be able to see at the summit, having those conversations one-on-one and talking about how people are getting things done and how the world's changed a bit for them. I think these are really important conversations to have, and they tend to happen that day when these folks all get together and are in a room together and talking about really important things, that how we all make a living.
And speaking of that, so Chris and I are commercial real estate brokers. We handle leases, we handle sales of all types of real estate. And Jerry, that being said, there still seems to be a dichotomy between what we're talking about now with it's almost impossible to get a loan. You can get a loan, but it's just to make it pencil out and having enough cash. But Omaha, Nebraska, which is more insulated than these boom and bust places, New York, San Francisco, and a lot of other major cities, and we're a tertiary market, healthier place to live, which is nice, but there seems to be a lot of cash in the market. I'm closing on an 80-acre farm that'll be an industrial park. Now, albeit we started about a year ago, but it's also for future development. And there's so much money in the market, which my sense is a lot of people are paying cash or putting down a lot more, maybe taking a partial loan, and then hoping they can refinance in a couple of years should they go down.
You're absolutely right. I mean, cash has been and continues to be king in everything, particularly in commercial real estate today. You're going to have to, if you don't have all cash to do a deal, then instead of having 20 or 30% in a deal, have the bank loan you 60 or 70, you better be prepared to put 50% cash in a deal to make it work today.
Chris, the CRE Summit, go to CRE Summit or attendcresummit.com. Real quickly, what are a couple of the panels that you're looking forward to?
I'm really excited about a few different panels. A lot of them are really good. We've got two finance panels. One is more on the creative financing side, PACE, TIF, HUD loans. They're going to be very specific on some more kind of non-traditional lending. And then we've got a really conventional lending finance that is more traditional banking that Jerry and I sat in a lot of meetings with them, and it's really fascinating to hear best practices and really, again, kind of coaching folks how they're going to get those loans and how it's going to move forward and what the banks are looking for and some alternatives to traditional banking. We've got a couple of other things that I think are great. There's a legal panel that's going to be pretty dynamic when they're talking about techniques for working through the current interest rates and how developers are changing kind of the way they do their work. There's also what we've really noticed in the room, and we've got a lot of feedback, is there's, and I'm sure you've noticed it too, Trenton, is there's a lot of younger, whether it be younger in age or newer to the commercial real estate the community. There's younger people in the room, and so we've got a couple of breakouts that are just small panels of tables topics that people can go and just have a conversation about kind of areas of their interest, whether that be negotiating or working within the teachable moments, mistakes that we've made, networking. So they'll be able to sit down with just a small group of really seasoned folks in the industry and be able to ask direct questions. And we haven't done much of that in the past, where it's a little bit more intimate tables. The other one that I'm really looking forward to is the end of the day. We've got a panel of Omaha developers that have been really influential to to Omaha. We've got Dave Fanslaw, planning director, Arun Agarwal with White Lotus. We've got someone with Mutual Omaha, with Heinz Development, and with Nalo Companies. So, the people that have been really impactful, and I think everyone's always anxious to hear what they have to say. And of course, we've got the ESG conversation, because everybody's talking about environmental, social, and governance in the CRA industry.
That's great. Now, I've been attending this thing for a long time, and the CRE Summit. I have two favorite parts. My favorite parts are at the beginning, where Jerry kind of gives an overview and starts us off. Now, in the past, Jerry, you've surprised us with unique outfits and costumes and things like that. Are there going to be any surprises this year?
Well, we are not planning one, but just based on what you just said, it sounds like I may be forced into doing one again.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And then my other favorite part is the networking cocktail party afterwards. Well, Chris, we got to take a break, and Chris Mensinger, fellow real estate broker, good friend, and Jerry Slusky, thank you for talking about the CRE Summit. Go to attendcresummit.com, August 25th, all day at the CHI Health Center. You are listening to Trenton Magid and guest co-host Jerry Slusky, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing, right here on 1110 KFAB. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Grow Omaha Show, the area's only economic development commercial real estate radio program, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. I'm Trenton Magid. Jerry Slusky is my guest co-host. Jeff Beals has the weekend off. He'll join us next week, where we have Mayor Jean Stothard back for her about quarterly city update, which is always exciting. Speaking of D&M Roofing and siding, Eric Oberup, who you just heard on a commercial during the break, he's a rock star. He opened in Houston in the last couple of years, but Omaha, they've been here since 1965, and commercial and residential roofing. They've replaced my roof, Jeff's roof, our family home. They do amazing work, and they have such technologies. They'll come out for free, and they'll do thermal imaging from a drone to see where the wet spots are and what needs to be fixed. And they are honest, and they are quick without skimping on quality. So I recommend dndmroofing.com. And also, it is time for the Noddle Companies Development Spotlight. Noddle Companies is a local full-service developer. You know them from Exarban Village, which we talk about on here, the Builders District, First National Bank Business Park, several others. And one of their projects was River's Edge, which is still going on. River's Edge Park, which has the Tom Hannafans great lawn over there, right where the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge starts in Council Bluffs. Now, Jerry, that's where Playland Park, that was part of the Slusky Empire, 1948, your father built a huge wooden roller coaster. It's 3/4 of a mile.
Correct. It went all the way down Broadway, and it was a major draw back then.
And you drove through the roller coaster to get to the park, and then you ran the stock car races.
Right. So that's where I mentioned earlier. I grew up in that, and fond memories, and I was glad to see that the city took that area and Noddle redeveloped it along with Broadmoor, and really into a nice project.
So what's opening soon is, or actually, it's this week is the grand opening. The Terrace, which is a coffee, lunch, and happy hour cafe, is now open by the Bob Carey Pedestrian Bridge and Tom Hannafan's River Edge Park. They will have all kinds of specials, but what's neat about the staff they call it a social enterprise cafe. They hope that patrons find camaraderie, connectedness, and inclusivity. The profits from Terrace will support Trivium Life Services, a Council Bluffs nonprofit that provides long-term support and behavioral health services for struggling individuals. So it's a coffee shop with a cause, and I encourage everybody to go see the public art. It's a 90-acre public park. There's a pavilion with rental space, and they have a planned Mid-American Energy Adventure Tower, 138-story tower with different platforms that you can see for miles and see both cities. They're going to have some really cool features. They're going to have manufactured caves where you can go exploring caves. They're also going to have a rolling glide apparatus with two 480-foot slides where you get tied off and you go down the steel, and it sounds kind of like zip lining, but for the not so faint of heart. And River's Edge, go check it out. That is your Noddle Development Spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies, a full-service real estate company, and can be reached at noddlecompanies.com. Well, Jerry Slusky, I've been doing it for 30 years. You've been doing it for 55 probably?
Over 50.
Over 50, we'll call it. You've seen the trends, and there's a lot of things, even though we see a robust economy, robust construction and development, there's a couple things that should give people heart palpitations in this environment, and namely the dichotomy between residential apartments and home ownership.
Yeah, it's an important subject because a lot of people today that previously aspired to be a homeowner or wanted to move up into a larger home have found it difficult, if not impossible, simply because of the higher interest rates and the higher costs of these homes has made the principal and interest payments so high. And what's happened today is that the differential between average rents and average P&I house payments is bigger than it's ever been in history. In fact, the statistic is that the house payment is as much as twice as high as you can get a rental property. And so that's what's happening. Even though home sales are still selling, it's with, as you mentioned earlier, a lot more cash going into these things, but it's slowing down. And a lot of the builders will tell you it's extremely difficult to make these numbers work.
So as a guy who's built a couple thousand apartments over the last 10 years, and you've invested in apartments for decades, it seems like it's a good time to own apartments, and the rents in Omaha have gone up because of what you just said.
Yeah, it's driven the demand for rental housing and apartments, and everybody says, gee, I see another apartment project coming up. I can't believe, where are these people coming from? Well, a lot of them are coming from the home ownership side of the equation, or the people that want to be homeowners, and they have to be, they're renters by necessity. So it's going to continue. My view is that America is turning into a bit more of a rental country. 60% of people own homes today. It used to be 70%. That 10-point differential has taken place just in the last 6-7 years, and I think we're going to go to 50-50 before too long.
And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, because after World War II, the great boom in home building and owning a house was something to be very proud of. And it seems like we have the younger generations are more transient. They like to travel more, and they don't want to be tied down.
No question. But as I said, they're going to be renters by necessity, and a lot of these rental properties are quite nice.
And there's a lot of international, there's a lot of funds that go and buy. So if you're going to buy a house, first of all, if you're selling your house right now, you make out well, but to replace it and buy a house, especially in bigger markets, that's a really tough thing to do. And then not only are you competing to buy a house with fellow citizens, you're competing against these giant corporations that have loads of money that want single family rental properties, and they treat them collectively like apartments.
Yeah, and they're acquiring them in every community across the country. You're absolutely right.
It's a very interesting trend. Now, you've also talked to a lot of commercial developers and lenders. And what is the commercial investment market now compared to a year ago?
Oh, I would say it's down about 50 to 60%. Transactions are down, new deals are down, and it's for all the reasons we discussed: high interest rate, high construction prices. The Fed wanted to put the brakes on, and I might tell you that they have done a very good job, and you're going to see more evidence of that over the next 6 to 8 months.
It always reminds me when the industry gets to be like right now. It's always photocopied 1,500 times, but there's a fake Peanuts Charles Schultz cartoon, and it says, one of the characters says, "Dear God, please let there be another real estate boom, and I promise I won't squander my commissions like I did the last couple of years." And it always, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Totally.
And so that comes about, and this show is going way too fast.
Let me just say one thing. Do I have time?
Go ahead.
Omaha, like Omaha has been in the past, Lincoln the same. We are working through this nicely. We're playing ball better than most communities across the country, and we're succeeding, and we're going to push through it. We're going to succeed and get through this high interest rate environment. And that's part of what the summit's about, in networking and figuring out together how to push through it.
Collaboration. Well, this show is also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center. Dingman's Collision Center, who I've used way too much on my small fleet of 3 cars, and they do an unbelievable job on repairs, both mechanical and collision centers. So check out Dingman's Collision Center for all your car needs. It's time to take a short break. You're listening to Trenton Magid and Jerry Slusky on 1110 KFAB, the Grow Omaha Show. And welcome back to the Grow Omaha Show, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage Company, D&M Roofing, and Dingman's Collision Center. I'm Trenton Magid. Jeff Beals will be back next week with Gene Stothard and me, and we're going to talk about the state of the city. Jerry Slusky, a longtime entrepreneur, attorney, deal maker, is joining me, and it is time for one of the favorite parts of the show, which is the Turner Construction Lightning Round. Turner is one of the world's largest construction companies, but in Omaha, they act as a small company. They employ about 150 full-time employees, many of whom are from Omaha. They're always looking for more employees. You see their signs on the major corridors doing ground-up buildings, doing tenant improvements. So check out Turner Company for all your construction needs. Well, first on the agenda on the lightning round is go to openomaha.org. It's part of Omaha by Design. Jerry and I were talking about it during the break, and Open Omaha, they have an app and a map, and basically today and tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, you can visit 60 different for-profit and not-for-profit venues. One that probably you should stay away from because there's going to be a million people there is B&B Sports Academy, which is Bud Crawford, undisputed welterweight champion, unbelievable guy. I hope we have a Rocky-like real structure down by CHI Center. He's deserved it. But anyway, Open Omaha, free, and I think I'm going to go down to the new library downtown and some of the museums and things like that. So encourage everybody to do that. Jerry, did you see that Scooter's Coffee is going to be the namesake of the Frisco Bowl? Down in Texas, Scooter's did a multi-year deal with the Frisco Bowl college football game, and it will be December 19th for the first time this year. And what's amazing about Scooters is Don and Linda Eccles started it in Bellevue with a single location, and it now has about 700 stores in 29 states, and there's been a lot of equity put into it, and they want 1,000 stores by the end of 24. So the coffee wars definitely continue. This is Jerry's expertise that the Omaha City Council has approved the Digs. It's an apartment project at 31st and Marcy in Midtown, including $4.1 million in tax increment financing. The $46 million project will include 188 apartments. And what's unique about this one, Jerry, is even though there's 188 apartments, there's 147 designated parking stalls for 239 residents. And you don't see that very often.
No, that's a really nice parking ratio.
No, it's short. It's small because it's.
I thought you said.
No, there's a lot less parking stalls. 238 residents, 147 designated parking stalls. So the neighbors fought and said, hey, they're going to take up the street parking and everything else. And because of, in the future, we should have autonomous cars where everybody does ride sharing and those cars won't need to park. They can just drop people off and stuff like that. And you've got the streetcar coming in. And so you're going to see more and more of that because the parking requirements of buildings downtown is usually zero.
Right. You're right.
So that'll be interesting. Ground has officially been broken at the Oxbow Crossing development along Highway 6 in Ashland, according to the Omaha-based Shimmer, which is the engineering firm providing those services. There will be, at the Oxbow Crossing development, there will be a steakhouse, fast food restaurant, healthcare clinic, and 48 apartments. And I want to welcome Lockbox Storage. They are the sponsor of a new section of the Omaha Weekly Market Report, and it is called Did You Know? Surprising Facts, Figures, and Points of Pride That Make Omaha Unique. Lockbox Storage has several locations throughout the community. For instance, Jerry, did you know that Omaha produces more than $52 billion in goods and services each year?
I did not.
So the music is playing, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Jerry Slusky, Chris Mensinger. The CRE Summit is going to be August 25th, all day at the CHI Health Center. Go to attendcresummit.com. Jerry Slusky, thank you so much for being in my life and teaching me so much over the last 30 years.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It was fun.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be with you next week with Mayor Gene Stothert and Jeff Beals right here on 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.